Good afternoon, it's 2 minutes past 12, that we might be 3 minutes past 12 now, and welcome to Fishing with CJ. And after a long break, and it has been a long frustrating break due to sustained strong winds that just came in and kept on and on and on and on and on, we are actually getting out to sea today. So it's only an afternoon session. I had some things to do this morning, so otherwise I would have been out bright and early, because it is a window in the weather. The wind picks up back again tomorrow, and we're back to anxiously looking at XC weather, looking for a window again. We're going to go out and drift a few wrecks today, I think. So I'm not going to be dropping the anchor, or I don't plan to drop the anchor. I'm just going to get out, steam out to a few wrecks, have a few drifts about, with the idea being that because of the strong winds, they won't have been fished too heavily for the last couple of weeks. So every chance we might pick up some of the target species. Again, I'm not declaring my target, but if I catch one, you'll know, because following a poll that I've done regarding dancing, it seems to be the consensus of opinion that you quite like me doing a dance. So if I catch the target species today, or one of the target species, because there is more than one, there's actually 3 target species today. If I catch any one of those, or all 3, you will get a little dance. So anyway, no more ado, let's get out and let's get fishing. It is lovely, the wind has dropped right away. Yeah, the windsock in the harbour arm is kind of hanging limp, which is really nice to see. The forecast is for about 7 o'clock this evening, the wind will pick up a little bit. What wind there is southwesterly, I think, and we are about to have the tide ebbing. We're about top of the tide now. So the tide will be ebbing, which means it will be wind over tide, which might make it a little bit choppy, but nonetheless, we're going to go out and we're going to give it a try. So, but one of my subscribers has asked me to talk about fish finders or echo sounders or depth sounders or whatever you like to call them. So we are going to do a little bit about that, and we're going to talk about my setup. I'm using a Lowrance HDS 9. Which I've been using Lowrances since I first had a boat in 1989, and I'm a big fan of Lowrance. So I have tried other things briefly, but I've always gone back to Lowrance because I just find them so good. You know, but each to his own. Some other people prefer other makes, but we will talk about this. But we'll do that when we get out to sea. So here it is. This is it. This is showing my chart. I actually haven't programmed anything to where I'm going yet. So I need to do that, so let's put that in, put it into steer, go to waypoint, I'll edit that out so you can't see where I'm going, okay, and there you go. So it's showing a line, direct line, that's the track that I would have to take, but I mean obviously that takes me through the land. I'll reset that in a minute once I get outside the harbour, and then we just basically steer down that line. Or if you want to go on track and head in, you try and make your bearing match your track. The bearing is 184. Currently I'm tracking on 170. So course over the ground is around 169, 170. But the bearing is more southerly than that, so we're going to have to turn left when we leave the harbour. So anyway. More about that later. So we're getting close to a wreck now. You can see I'm using the steer feature, which is taking me to it. But what I'm going to do now is I'll switch over to the actual chart. Oh, chart, wake up. So there's the chart. And you can see that the chart has got an overlay on it. It's got a 3D map, or a 3D picture of the seabed actually superimposed onto the Admiralty chart. So you can actually see what the seabed is doing, which is amazing. So you can see, here's the wreck. You can see the wreck. So actually the fish finder is almost not necessary, because this is incredibly accurate. Zoom in a bit more. And we'll just steam over that wreck and have a look. Now you can see that my charter is putting a line onto the map of where I've been, and that's quite important for me, because when I'm trying to work out how I'm going to drift this wreck, what we'll do when we get to the wreck in a minute is we'll cut the engine, and we'll just see what the tide and the wind does to us, so we've got some sort of an idea of the direction that we're going to drift in, so that we can line ourselves up to drift over the wreck. And we realistically, or possibly, we want to try and drift across the wreck with the engine switched off, because we don't want to be disturbing the fish. Let's give it a little bit of a squirt to get it a bit closer to this wreck. I am going to run the engine over this wreck momentarily, just the once, just to make sure that I'm on it. Let's switch it now to chart and sounder. So we're going to put this on, and this is showing you, there's the chart, and this is what the echo sounder is picking up of the seabed. And you'll see in a minute that we'll hit a big outcrop, which is the wreck. And you can see on the map, on the 3D relief, we're coming up to the wreck now, and here we go. Here's the wreck coming up on the fish finder. Now, the way that the fish finder works, or the echo sounder works, some fish showing on it actually. The way the fish finder works is it's on the back of my boat. There is a transducer, and a transducer is basically a sender and a receiver, and it's sending out ultrasonic clicks, sort of rapid click, 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 and it's listening for the echoes that are coming back off those clicks. So it can differentiate between hard bottom and fish. And so it's picked up a load of little fish there, or things that it reckons are fish, and it's sending back little signals. And on top of this wreck, there looks to be quite a cloud of fish on top of this wreck, which is good news. So we'll go round. What we'll do is we'll cut the engine, we'll tackle up, and then we'll have a go. Now, if you can't understand the ultrasound and the clicking and the blah blah blah, if you watch the old wartime films, you know, when they were hunting submarines, they'd have a thing called Aztec going bing, 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 but it's picking up the echo of the submarine. Well, this is a lot more advanced than that now. It's a rapid beep, and it's a rapid click that's been sent out. I'm going to cut the engine now to see what the drift does to us. We are virtually on slack water, so we shouldn't drift very fast. Now, what you've got to recognise is that the boat is above this top corner here. That's where we are in relation to the wreck. All of this is history, and it's going bing, bing, bing straight down, all right? And it's echoing off the bottom. Now, if there was no tide, if we weren't moving, this would just give you a flat line, all right? Because it's just going bing, 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 bing off the same spot. But because we're moving with the tide, it will start to show, it will show hills and drops and valleys and what have you. Let's turn this down. And of course, the faster you move, the steeper the thing goes up and down. The slower you move, the more gradual it is, because it is literally just taking a picture here. So it's taking a little snapshot of what, or it's, you know, the echo sounder is picking up the echo from just here, nowhere else. Right, so as I say, this is all history. We've passed over this, it's gone. As you can see, there is very little tide running. We're hardly moving at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the cameras now. I'm going to tackle up and see if we can't catch some fish off this bad boy. Get down to the bottom. She's my little jigging rod here. I'm fishing very light today. I'm only using really light rods because I want to see a bit of rod bend. Wreck should be coming up very shortly. You can see it. You can see we're approaching it. As I say, it's a very slow drift, so we should be off the wreck for quite a while. See if I can get in close to the wreck without losing gear. You can see how slowly we're drifting. Beautiful drift. Still flooding tide, so we're still heading east. Very shortly the tide's going to turn around and start heading west. You might even see it today, one of those days where you actually see the tide change and the boat start drifting back the opposite direction. I love it when that happens. Let's get over the wreck. Sit over this wreck for a bit. Kill this engine. Peace and quiet. That's better, isn't it? question is, do I give the engine a little blip and see if we just can't get us that last little bit over the wreck? Just that little tiny blip, it just took us onto the wreck. Fish showing. These are the sort of fish that would take a slow jig. Live dangerously, you've got to be in it to win it. Just going to wind this up and drop it down vertically because because we had that little movement forward. I'm jigging at an angle which I don't like. Like so. Straight down. Get down. And we're above the wreck there. Now you can see that because there's very slow tide, it looks like the wreck goes on forever, but it's not. It's just that we're moving over it very slowly. When we steamed over it, you remember it was quite a steep up and down. But it's the same wreck. It's just that we're going over it very slowly. Something on it. Whatever it is, it's not big. If it is a fish. We've got the skunk out of the boat. We have the skunk out of the boat, but it is a mackerel. Big old jumbo mackerel, well. We'll take that. Take that all day long. That's probably taken that on the way down, truth be known. In there. In. After all this time, we managed to get the bait pump working, bait tank pump working. So we're still over the wreck here. Oh. Yeah, we're still on the top of the wreck. It just looks like a flat bottom because, as I say, we're not moving all the time. We're moving. So if nothing else, I've got mackerel for my tea. Just showing again. Down the bottom. As soon as we hit the bottom, we've got to wind it up a bit because we don't want to drag that through the wreckage. You don't know what sort of tangle of metal there is down there. Could be a net on it, or lost fishing lines, or rope, or anything. It could just be a mangled mess of tubes. If you look at some of the dive videos on YouTube, you'll see some of these wrecks are just, you know, just a scrapyard of metal basically. You know, and you drop a lure down in that, you've got no chance it's going to get caught up. But you've also got to take the gamble, because one of the target species live very close to the wreck, and that's what we want to catch if we can. So you've got to take a bit of a gamble. But then the other species lives quite a lot up off the wreck, so we'll wind it up a bit. Rock it down again. Yeah, that our little arrow is starting to show us going the other way on the tide. So that's interesting. So the tide is starting to run now, so we're going to start drifting the wreck as opposed to just drifting around. So I'm steaming back, so I'm going to be up tide of the wreck, and the drift line will be parallel to this line here. So we will set ourselves up down here somewhere and then drift towards the wreck. And then I'll be dropping a lure down and doing a slow retrieve over the wreck to see if we can't pick up any fish that lie above the wreck, so pollock for instance. Also at the bottom of each time I do that, there's a chance of cod or a bass or all sorts of other things that you could get. Let's speed up a little bit. So you can see I've steamed away from the wreck, so I've not got my engine running while I'm over the wreck, and I'll line myself up. What I tend to do is I turn back towards the wreck, so I'm actually steaming it towards the wreck before I cut my engine. And that means that any residual momentum in my forward momentum is taking me towards the wreck, not taking me off the drift. Just let me bring it out a bit so you can see what I'm doing. And kill that engine, and let's see what happens. Let's see if I've got that right. Sometimes it will miss. Looks it's going to take me over the wreck, isn't it? Yeah, that drift looks really good, actually. Telephone call. I wound my lure up and I held it sort of mid-water, and you can see it. You can actually see it on the fish finder there, and you can see me letting it down again now. So I'm on the bottom, and there was a little cloud of fish went through. So there's fish down there. The wreck is still off. I mean, the drift is really slow, which again is nice. It means we're over the wreck for quite a long time. What I might do is change. Oh no, it was. I thought I had a little tug then, but I don't know. Yeah, again, there's fish showing up on the bottom there. I must be dragging them on the bottom there. And it's the first of the wreckage starting to show. So we're just coming off the back of the wreck now. We're drifting to the west, So the wreck is to our east, which is back that direction. That's why I cast over that way. So I'm back over the wreck again. And I'll draw this lure back over the wreck to the awaiting fish, who will be waiting, facing into the current, waiting for bait, etc. to be swept over the wreck. Must be on the bottom now. Quite a load of little fish showing down here, around there. Will be down, the lure will be down amongst that. And then I'm going to change techniques and move to a different location possibly. Right, so let's try some different techniques. So we're gonna swap over to a boom, fish a sidewinder with a weighted boom on a long trace. Let's give that a go. So I make my booms up beforehand. So I've got a bit of I don't know, 40-pound line there with one bead and a swivel. That'll clip onto my main line. My lure link will go onto there, and then a weight, I don't know, probably 6 to 8 ounces, 6 ounces probably, it's not very strong tide at the moment. It goes on that, it goes down, and then we draw this up through the water column. So I'll put the camera back on when we do that. Okay, so I'm moving to another wreck now. There are 2 boats on it, I believe. It was my initial destination, to be truthful, but I thought we'd come along on slack water and just give this wreck a go. The tide is starting to flow in the right direction. Obviously, other boats on a wreck, it just makes it a little bit, you have to be a bit more careful, but also it helps because you can see how they're setting themselves up for a wreck and you can line up on them, and yeah, so it gives you a reference point. It's less than a mile away, so it will won't take as long to get there. Right, this is a bit more challenging, this wreck. It lies in line with the tide and it's quite narrow, so you have got to get it right. But if you get it right, you're drifting over the wreck for quite a long time. So let's see if we can get it on camera. Let's see what happens. Let's put some lures down and just give it a go. Fishing a different technique now. We're going to be fishing with a multiplier rod, still a very lightweight rod, with a boom and a weight, long flowing trace. And then I've got a custard and cream, or rhubarb and custard, rhubarb and custard sidewinder on it. I don't think that's meant to be going out on the distress frequency somehow. Again, the tide is still very slow at the moment. Looks like it might be alright though. There's something showing up on the bottom there. Down amongst that. Fish on, but This is the right rod, so it does show up the bend. So it might just be a pouting. Oh, I don't know. Oh, it feels like it's come off. Bring it up and check it. Just examine my lure, make sure it's still there, nothing bitten off. Still there. Get it back down again. I think it's just a pouting. In and get it up and get it off and get back down again. So oh, yeah, I definitely think it's pouting. Plenty of drift left. Pouting. So with pouting is that they do spin up the line and they will knock the line up, which is what this one's done. And the question is, do you leave a knot in the line and risk it being a weak spot to get a decent fish or not? We'll see. If we get a break in the line 2 inches from the boom, we know we should have sorted that out. Well, the seagulls seem to be with me now. Still got wreck underneath us. It's the other side of the wreck, so I think my neighbours have caught the wreck. Yeah. Smart liner Fisher 21, which if you watch back through my channel you'll see me doing some review on smart liners, quite tidy boats and not too expensive. They look a little bit narrow for my taste, narrow and high. There's a big lump, I think. Cheeky monkeys. I've got confidence I'm going to catch a fish. Got a fish on! Definitely putting a bend in this rod. Initial big lunging bite, so I'm assuming it's a pollock. It's not coming up very docile now. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Still going. Oh, still going. Oh, 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 oh. It's pollock. It's pollock. It's pollock. Ooh, it's a lively old boy. Oh, nice fish. Nice fish. Nice fish. There we go. Nice pollock. You, my friend, are coming home to dinner. So it's not a blank. Been hard work though. So of course this is one of the target species, so we might have to do a little bit of a dance. Can I hear some music? Is there music coming? Oh, music! And I warned you, there might be some dancing. I was expecting a bit more dancing than that, but hey, anyway, we have not blanked. Let's go round and have a go at that again. Whoa, got a fish on this jigging rod. Yes. Christian, that's a decent fish. Going well. Oh, stripping line. Bend with his rod. Sakura slow jig rod. Oh, just fishing with a little lead here. Oh, it's a bass. It's a bass. It's a nice bass as well. Need to get the net for this boy. In the net. Look at that bad boy. He's definitely coming home for dinner. That was on this. That was on this. Thought it would work. It has. Oh yeah. Nice fish. And guess what? It's another target species. So, can I hear music? Yes, I can. Let's get him in the bucket and cut. 2 dances in a trip. Have I got time for one more drift? Oh, I've got to do it, haven't I? One more drift, one more drift. Let's get this round and have one more go. Right, this definitely is the last drift, because I do have to get back. I'm going to list my bloody mooring if I'm not careful. So we'll film this drift, and if we catch a fish, great. If we don't, then we're going to head straight back in. Got a fish on it. I'm not. Oh, there's a fish on there. There's a fish there. Oh, took it on the way down. Woohoo! There's a fish on here. Took it on the drop. Quite a long way from the bottom, I think. Isn't it just arrived, just as I'm about to have to pack up, get into the fish after a hard day of fishing, and get another bass on, I think. Feels like a bass. Oh, it's gone. Ah, still over the wreck though. Still over the wreck, still drifting. It's the last drift. Had a good fish there. Keep filming. that's it, I think we're off the wreck. So we wind this up and head back in. So it's not been a blank. We've had 2 of the target species today. Just missed one, nice fish. I think it was a smaller bass, I think, judging by the weight of it. With this amazing little lure, I'm going to have to get some more of these. I have to look them up and see what they are. But it kind of changes colour when it's in the water. Yeah, lovely bit of kit. There's no point. There's no point in going down again. Let's pack up and head in before we. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting on a bloody mooring for ages, waiting for the tide to come in. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed it. It wasn't the fishy day that I thought it was going to be, but it's really good to get out. You know, we haven't been getting out because of the weather. Sort all these rods out when we get in, because I can do that when I'm in the mooring, but I can't do it. Well, I can sit in the mooring if I can't get in, but what I don't want to do is here. Right, so start the engine. Let's get rolling. One good thing is it's very calm. So it should be absolutely fine. Well, I rushed back in to try and get on to my berth, and of course the best laid plans and everything like that, because I've got to wait for this big old boy to come out of the harbour. But it's virtually gone now, so I should be able to get in very shortly. Have a look, see what the lights are saying, and call up New Haven and get in there. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I will get in. I will get in. So, catch you in a bit. Well, there we go. Nice end to the day, really. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. But I've got fish for my tea.